Tuesday, Transformational Tuesday on our page, on my pages. And so today is also the 19th of November, which Pluto moved into Aquarius for the next 20 years. Big shifts, big changes. Now, we've had this energy a couple of times this year. So I thought I was drawn to this pack to pull a card yesterday, and then I ended up just doing Meditation Monday, and we didn't do our daily card yesterday. And I don't often use this pack. I liked it. I was drawn to it. It's the Wisdom of Avalon, Colette Baron Reid. And I thought, why this one? And then I was looking at the front of this, and you look at the patch. She's got her sword. She's standing there in kind of her sovereign self, and I think that's what it was, that particular card. So that image on the pack, I want to read what that one particularly says, and then I will pull one or two. We'll see how much time. So let's see if we can find that particular card in this pack and read what it says about that one. I wonder actually if we can just skip. Let's get the card up. Actually, quick way of doing it. So it doesn't have. Oh, it doesn't have the number. What? Actually, no, I need the. Maybe not such a quicker way of doing it. Oh, let's see. The Queen, the King, the Priestess. So, no, it's not the High Priestess, is it? No, I need to know what number. So yeah, I'm going to have to do it the old-fashioned way by going through. So just bear with me a moment while we get the number, and then I can read you what it says. It's upside down now. All right, darling, I've just gone live, so give me 15-20 minutes. Okay. And my husband in the background. Beautiful, beautiful pack. Right, hang on. That's the High Priestess, but it's not that one. It is. It's the Lady of the Lake. Okay. So it's page 8. Oh God, that makes sense, doesn't it? Number 8. Sorry, not page 8. If you've got the book yourself, it's page 18. Alexa, can you turn on the dining room light 100%? Right. Absolute truth. Courage, self-respect. Alexa, stop. Thank you. Absolute truth, courage, self-respect, and responsibility. Well, that's why I was drawn to that image then. This image represents those qualities. And I feel like that is what we're being called to do, to represent, to stand in our power. So yeah, she's got her sword, which to me represents the sovereignty, but also what I call our lightsabers, our central column of light, being connected with the greater part of ourself. So when you're in alignment, when your upper, middle, lower dantians or your chakras all are in alignment, however you want to look at that as a process, when you are connected to the galactic as well as to Gaia in your highest, that's the sovereignty, that's that power, because you are in your power, you're in a remembrance of your power. So the Lady of the Lake as well is a symbol, and so absolute truth, our absolute truth, and over the next 20 years, I think that's what this is representing. Because I asked for, what do I need to share? I sat here before we started, I put my hand on my heart, and before I went live and just said, right, what do I need to share today I do just a card for the day? It's Pluto in Aquarius, and that I'd written that down on my as a note to do. I need to share that anyway, and I kept being pulled, as I said, back to this image of the front of the pack. I will pull one, but I wanted to read what it says on this. So it happens to be the Lady of the Lake. Absolute truth, courage, self-respect, and responsibility. It's the reminder that we have a responsibility to have the courage to stand in our own power, to represent the values that we hold true. It's not about holding that truth over someone or the sword is down. You look at that image, she's not confronting, about to kill someone with it. She's holding it. It's there. It's not a threat. It's a representation of that sword, which is what I feel is the lightsaber and what it stands for when we talk about the myth or the wisdom of, and these are oracle cards of Avalon, of that area of Avalon that we have here in the UK, of what that whole culture, whether you believe in it or not, it's what it represents to us. And it is that absolute truth and courage to be in the highest state of all. So that's what I feel I was called to share. I will share what it says because I'm curious to know myself. So the Lady of the Lake represents the highest order of respect for yourself and the manner in which you operate within the world around you. She is the harshest element of truth, where denial is swept away by the tidal wave of events. So it is very much representative of the energy that I feel is showing up for us right now, that we cannot be in denial anymore. That Pluto, that the truth of what it is that you need to do, your passion, the path that you're meant to be on, events will put us, you, me, and everyone into those aligned events. You've got to be in alignment. If it's not in alignment with what is in your highest good, it's going to be removed from your life, removed from society, if it's not in the best interest for the world. So in the ancient legend of Avalon, the Lady of the Lake represented Merlin with the sword of truth, which had been claimed by Arthur, who became High King of Britain. The magic that wielded this metal was fired by the will of the god and goddess. Consequently, when the Lady of the Lake appears, she demands nothing short of total truth and integrity. And she asks you to be mindful of all the signs, signals, and omens that present themselves to you. So we're being asked to look, to go within, to see what is not right in our own lives, to hold ourselves to the highest values and integrity of our own truth, and know that representation of who you are presenting, maybe it's you're starting to see that there might be people present a certain way. I mean, even being on YouTube, it's thank you, bless you. Is this son that are you mistress? I can't remember how. So so what was I going to say? I've lost my train of thought by looking over there. That's why I tend to ignore the comments to the end. Apologies if I do. It's not that I'm not validating, not seeing. Oh, that's it. Being on YouTube, you do represent whatever's in that square is what you see. And I was thinking, right, okay, well, I want to put the camera this way because there's a pile of books on my desk right here that doesn't look good in shot. So you're still presenting a view that you want the world to see. Now, this is about actually people, which is why I mention it. It's about seeing beyond that. It's about you seeing where you do that in your life, where you maybe show up and you're not being completely honest with yourself, or most importantly with the self, with others, or how we're seen by others, being exposed in a certain way, but having the courage to stand in that. Okay, that's okay. it's being shown up for me. That showing up for me is I need to put those books away. It's like, it's just the universe showing you just a simple thing like that, or that, yeah, you need to tidy up, you need to clear out, you need to declutter. Just little signposts on a very sort of 3D way. You could look at it to the more deeper soul, and that's more, like I've said about the energy of this month, is about us, what I call soul washing, purging away old lifetimes worth. Maybe it's this lifetime, maybe it's other lifetimes. I personally have been doing a series of Akashic readings with a lady, having Akashic readings and working through different aspects of that, and it's been so interesting delving into that understanding. So I feel as though that reclamation of the soul is definitely what's going on. So let's go back over this. This is not the time to second guess if a signal appears. Hence, I knew, I kept going back to that image. I needed to share what the image is, what it was about, and what it meant. I knew it meant something. If the signal appears, be assured that a challenge has been presented. Moving forward without acknowledgement of the challenge will result in unnecessary difficulties. If the signal is to move, she pushes you to act. Today is time to act as well. I've got that written in my diary because my partner asked me, "What, are you free tomorrow?" Because we're going to go and have lunch with my husband. And I remember looking in my diary and it was saying time to act. And I thought, oh, I must book that insurance. I must do this. Little things now that have been kind of the last couple of weeks you've been thinking, okay, I need to start setting that intention on. I want to do that. The little sparks of things that are coming up for you, like, oh, I want to start making the Christmas presents or whatever it is, like, as just a random example. Now's the time to start doing those things that you're inspired from, that heart-led inspiration that's coming up. It's time to take action on them for them to be coming into manifestation in your life. So unnecessary difficulties will appear if you go against your fire, your heart, your instincts. You need to follow that flow, because if you're not following it, think of it like water. You're moving with this water, and if you're trying to stop that water, it's like you're trying to hold back this masses of water. And what will happen? Water is representative of emotion, that flow, that light. It will create a push, so it will literally up in your face. Not necessarily a bad thing, because some of us need that little push, and those things will happen. Those challenges will be presented to us for us to create those changes in our lives. But wouldn't you? I certainly would rather do it the more as it in terms of, there's a Japanese saying, kensho and sansho moments. One is where you are actively seeking for that alignment, following that flow basically, and the other is where life and the universe gives you a reason to fully transform. Like, for example, developing a certain cancer, then you're changing your diet, you're learning how to self-heal, and that you are capable of self-healing, and that whole transformation coming from that catalyst of change. That's a Kensho sort of example. I prefer the Sancho route. I'm sure much of us, but not all of us are on that path, I have to say. So for hang on, let me go back. Challenges will result in unnecessary difficulties. If the signal is to move, she pushes you to act. Do so, for a victory is imminent, regardless of your question. The message here that you are here to view, I believe, is to take care when the Lady of the Lake appears, as serious business is at stake. This is serious stuff. The lady reminds you of your personal responsibility in shaping your reality. So, and the consequences. It's that remembrance that what we focus on, where our focus goes, our energy flows. So if your thought forms or your thinking patterns are that of, oh God, it's such a terrible world, oh, it's a horrible day, I do it this way, I feel ill, I really don't feel well. I said to her, could we reword that? And I was like, how about, I'm feeling slightly out of alignment today. My body's feeling a bit like it needs a shift or it needs a rest. Honoring it, don't like negate those feelings, but maybe reframe them is what I would need to say. And I was trying to get her to reframe it, to say, well, okay, my body's purging and that's okay. And it's kind of getting used to that, because some of us are used to being stuck in that record of that story that we're used to, that we almost become it. It shapes who we are in our own reality. And it's that deep level of understanding that actually we have that power, and it's just taking courage to take it back, to claim that back for ourselves. So seek the sword of truth within yourself, and the great success will be yours. Have courage, for when the lady appears, the strength of Avalon is behind you, in support of your quest for wholeness and abundance. Now, I would say, however you've come to my channel, that everyone at the core of all of us, including myself, we all want to be happy. And the key to that is like knowing ourselves, being in ourselves, sort of honoring with love and respect for ourselves. Happiness comes when we are in the moment. I was just reading a quote as I was picking the quote for the transformational quote that I put up on my page. I think I picked a Lao Tzu one, but the other one that I was reading was about, I can't remember who it was now, and I can't bring it up because it was on my phone. Oh gosh, who was it? It wasn't Lao Tzu. That's the one I've shared. It might have been Anthony de Milo or another one. Anyway, it was about, it was Gandhi, saying, and I am paraphrasing, about happiness is when we are thinking and feeling and doing, all of which are the same. So when you are thinking you want something, the emotions are lining up with that, and you're actually physically doing that. It's the focus of that energy, and that brings that into alignment, basically. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to go, you can go and listen to what it says about Pluto in Aquarius. I think it's very, very relevant. Obviously that shift started today, but it's kind of coming in, and it's going to be a while. It's a revolutionary energy, as I mentioned yesterday. And it takes a while. I mean, one of the things that was quoted was the French Revolution, which happened during the Pluto in Aquarius. But it took 12 years to get to that point. But it was started sort of now, and then it builds. It's the shift and change. And I think it very representation, it's air, of the frequency and sound and technology are where those shifts. So what is your truth about that? This is about, what's the quote from the card? Absolute truth. Having the truth about technology, and sound and frequency is going to be more and more clear. Having courage and understanding of these frequencies, that self-respect and responsibility, but also we have a responsibility within those areas, within technology, within frequency. Once you're aware that you create your own reality, you have a responsibility, I would say, to create one for the good of all of humanity. That, to me, that we are all, when we're in sovereign self, we are doing that, but also mindfully with what we do. So putting intention behind there being a better world, that we're working cohesively with nature, with more sustainability, and kind of leaning towards that sense of truth for what is the best for all of us and for all of humanity. Now, I know that different people would argue that they would have different truths, but it's having a respect for others and that cohesiveness, that flow that I was on about. If everyone is in true alignment of their what they are good at and their soul, and that was another thing that had come. The true meaning of caste was meant to be that say if you're a doctor, that's your calling, or you are a artist, that's your calling. When everyone is doing their calling, they are doing it not for money, they're doing it because they truly love and appreciate, or they truly want to heal people, they truly want to teach people. Then it's not about the money. The money is kind of another layer, I guess. It will naturally flow, but it's not a financial thing. It's more a energetical shift of receiving and giving. And when you're giving that which you are naturally wanting to do, or you're within your abilities, that abundance will flow in various ways. It's that different way of thinking. It's that exchange. And I think that again is one of the shifts that will be coming up. But knowing the absolute truth about all of these areas is my message for today, the Lady of the Lake. So remember your sword. And for me, what that represents and what I want to share, this 8, the infinity, it's our energy. It's cultivation of energy overall. Your upper, middle, lower dantian, the central column line, or what I call our lightsaber. So connecting to the highest good, but grounding that, rooting that down in the now moment in your reality. So let me know in the comments today, how are you? Where are you from? And love and blessings for your day. Have a brilliant one. Confused, let me just say, great. I think I read them all. I'm going to. So we'll conquer. No, we'll have to look up that. So we'll conquer. No. I'll have to look that one up. I actually don't. I can't. I'm not. This is a dyslexic lady reading this stuff. I will Google that and find out. I'm assuming that's like Calypso, as in like the water and it, the goddess. Like I'm thinking, it brings to mind what's it? Pirates of the Caribbean and that goddess there. But I'll look into that. But thinking about how that word of conquering to me is more that it's not about conquering, not even conquering our own ego. It's about an understanding that actually that thing that you're trying to conquer is you. It's your own, and again that creates the battle. It's the duality. And I know there's lots of people. I'm not dissing the duality. I know we live in a dual world. What I am here to remind you, or what I really feel I need to share, is actually, like I say, the right and the left brain hemispheres, the left and the right, that duality of masculine, feminine, this bridge that's kind of now building and will go between 60 and 600 years is what my guidance tells me. As we evolve into the new human, homoluminescence, those crystals in our brain, they expand. They'll allow more higher states of consciousness. So there'll be less duality because you'll see the benefits of both. So it's not about conquering right brain or left brain, if you like, or masculine over feminine, or dark and evil. It's beyond that, because once you're out of that state of being, that state of thinking, you see that it all has value in our understanding. Anyway, love and blessings. Have a beautiful day, and thank you for your time. I will see you tomorrow.